Okay, one of my favorite plugins that's kind of slept on and I don't talk about it a lot is Factoid. The reason why I don't talk about it a lot is because prior to today, this plugin was just an Ableton Live plugin. You could not use it on anything else. In fact, here's what it looks like. You drag a sample in, you can create a loop if you want, you can sync it to the host if you want. You know, you have different components that you can factorize. You can change the quantization of the beat. Um, you could also just randomize where the components happen. But the one thing I hated about it, the reason why I didn't always promote it, was because when I finished it, I had to resample it, and I felt like that was just a bit much. Like having to resample it and do all that extra step just to get it was like, could I do not just do this in a different plugin and make it work? Well, the truth is you could, but Factoid has some components and things that the other plugins just don't have. So I enjoy Factoid. So now Factoid decided today that they were going to release the part 2.0. And what's better about 2.0 is it's a VST. It's no longer just a Ableton tool. So it makes it even easier to promote because now you can use it in whatever you want to use it in. So I'm going to show it to you today. I'm going to show you what I like about it, what's new about it, etc., etc. I'm going to go find a sample first. There we go. I'm going to drop a sample in. So it's easy as drag and drop a sample in, right? You can look up samples here if you want to. It does work in standalone, which is nice. So if you just want to use it outside of a DAW and create something and drag it to, or take it and send it to your drum machine or something like that, you could do that too. So that's kind of cool. You do have the ability to loop. Obviously, wherever you select in here, it's going to loop those points, right? It's showing 56 steps. I don't need 56 steps. I'm going to drop it down to 24. That should be, well, I'd prefer it to be a little, hold on, 23. All right, I'm going to do 23 steps. That's fine with me. So now when you hit factorize, it's going to do based on the components. So here's the components. It's basically breaking down the what it thinks is the different components in this sample. And over here, they added this. This is new. So if you look over here, you can actually remove, if you look at the drawing here while removing colors, it'll remove those for you. So here's, let me turn it on. So here's what all the components. And if you notice, you can also adjust the volume of those components, or you can shift the components to the left or right to manipulate the sample and make it more distinctively different. So what I call this tool is a mangle tool, right? It's a mangler that allows you to mangle audio to come up with new ideas. They also have a time randomization. So let's say the timing here is like, yeah, it's okay, but you want to change the quantization maybe to like a fourth, and you want it to be time randomized. Now you have a whole new sample. It's going to sound different. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. When it doesn't, go back to they have an undo button, which is nice. You can go back to what you previously had. This is shape shifting all the sound, right? You have a dry wet, you have a volume, and this is the best of all. You have an export now. So instead of having to sit here and resample, I can just drag and drop it straight to the timeline once I find the piece that I want out of it, right? If you just want a certain segment of it, highlight that segment, then drag and drop it straight to the line. Just that easy. So they made it so much easier. They put it in AUV 2 format so that you can use it in other DAWs now. It's not just tied to Ableton, which is really nice. and I think makes it even more useful for me now because I enjoy the fact that it's not tied to Ableton. I love Ableton, but when I have to go in Ableton Maximize plugins, there's like a million of them in there. And it sometimes can be challenging. Plus, when you want to tell others about it, who wants to buy it if they don't use Ableton, right? So now, don't worry about that. It's fixed. They gave it to you. Plus, you can save your exports. So let's say you can't afford Life right now, but you want something similar to this where it can mangle. You have it in Factoid 2.0. The website for it is, I'm going to show it to you real quick. Pull it up. ANEMOND.net, and then Factoid. They have another product too it's called Factor Synth. I haven't bought Factor Synth, but if it's updated to where it's not just Ableton, I might, be down. And this is how they describe it: endless clip variations, and they're not lying. It really is. So if you don't have it, it's like €29. I think that amounts to about $32, $33 American. If you already have the first version, which I did, you can request your upgrade. They'll actually send it to you anyway. And then it's only like €10 to upgrade. And there's a student discount of 50% off. They do require some things, so make sure you read this before you buy it. If you don't have Mac or PC, this is not for iOS. So just make sure you read all that. I'm not going to go over it. But wonderful plugin. I've never used Factor Synth. I might look into it, see what it's like before I even tell somebody to get it. Like I said, it does work in standalone. I'm just showing you here. So let's talk about a little bit more how it works or what you can do with it. So I'm going to randomize the time. There we go. I'm going to click off because I don't really care if it plays. You can change the components and do 4 if you want. There you go. If you're looking for some unique sounds, you can make some crazy unique sounds with this. And I'm keep randomizing until I find something I like. And you don't have to use the whole sample. You can just click on highlight what you want and then export just that. See? So you look for what you want out of it. I like that right there. Once you find what you want, hit the drag, drop it in. I'm gonna turn it off for a second so you can hear this. In Ableton and Shift L, then you got it looped. Now this sample is actually showing 73 BPM. It doesn't change the timing of the sample, right? So you need to, when you drag, before you drag and drop, if you want that exact timing that you hear in Factoid, you make sure you set your BPM up here, right? Now it should loop. Right, and then I'm gonna just do something for you real quick. I'm gonna go grab some drums. I'm just gonna get a drum loop just to make it quicker. There we go. I'm just time stretching the beat so it sits right on the. You see what I'm saying? Just that simple. So it's basically creating these endless loops. Now, what makes it better, in my opinion, than something like a Life plugin, for instance, I compare it to Life because Life can kind of do similar things on creating different variations of it, is this allows you to drop out components of the actual thing. So in other words, it's almost like having a stem separator mixed in with a mangler, mixed in with the ability to adjust components and or move different rhythms. You can also, however, by being able to do that, I'm going to make a duplicate track here so we don't mess up what we did. I'm going to throw in the drums that I just did and show you what I mean. Okay, so on this one, we're using the drums. So I'm going to click off there. So you can see the different things. So like that yellow is probably more than likely the hi-hat, right? So let's say you want to get rid of the hi-hats. Now you just want this. Well, we got because you want to put your own hi-hats on that, but you like that kick and snare. Take the snare out. So if you just want that kick, bring. Or just lower certain components. So like if you wanted that out. So you could lower that, but bring the kick up. See what I'm saying? So use your imagination on what you could do here. But you could take the hats out and then just go in and start adding your own, over the top of it or whatever you want to do. Pretty cool, right? Put the hats back in. So it works great for drums. Now you can't do this in Life. It does not separate the parts for you like that. It'll chop them and give you slices of whatever's there, and it can manipulate and put them in different order to make it rhythmic, but it's not going to give you the ability to remove components out of it. And that's only me using 4 components. I could bring back in more and see what it does. I mean, of course, okay, so now you could say, maybe I want the components there to sit that way. Let's drop out. But you see on the drums, on a simple drum pattern like this, where it's just some swing in it, you don't really need to factorize. I'm gonna get the words right. Probably that many. I would just do like 4 because there's only like 3 real sounds in there, and then you could get what you want, right? So pretty cool. I've actually never tried this Factoid 3. Let's see what it does. I would say do more components than 3. If you got 4 in there, or 3 components, do an extra one just to be safe so it picks up whatever's hitting beneath the snare. Otherwise, what it'll do is, like if there's a hat here, and there's a snare hat here, then it won't capture that other hat, and you won't be able to remove it like that. Or at least it won't sound good when you try to remove it. Okay? You can always drop the volume down. And these arrows over here allow you to manipulate, like see how I move the kick up a little bit? I'm going to move the hats. Now I'll see what it sounds like. weird. But I mean, but you can do that. You can move components around and create new ideas and rhythms, and then export that um, straight to your DAW, and then manipulate it further if you wanted to. So I think it's pretty cool. I think Factoid 2.0 is a great upgrade. Makes me want to use it now a little bit more because it's a VST versus being just an Ableton plugin. Sometimes I like just an Ableton plugin, but there's other certain plugins that I think I would use more if it wasn't, and that's one of them. So good job to, and I don't know how to pronounce this person's name or the creator's name. Animon, I guess is the name. And if I mispronounced it, I apologize. So I like how he puts cabinet of musical curiosities. And that's pretty much what I would describe that plugin too, which is dope. So anyway, another great plugin. Take a look at it. It's not expensive. And I believe it's just a one-person dev who's creating these devices, which is cool to support people like that that are making cool devices. So take a look at his stuff if it's in your budget and if it's something that you will use. Highly suggest it. Fun plugin to use. No, this is not paid. I actually bought the thing myself, and I just bought the updated version too. So yeah, it's me spending my own money for it. So I wouldn't tell you if I didn't really, I would tell you from the beginning if I got it for free. But anyway, that's it. All right, I'm out.